everyone, it's Jess here from the Scrappy Sisters, and thank you for joining me for a mixed media frenzy. So you can see the gorgeous layout that I am using for inspiration, and I am trying to recreate that sort of background watercolor effect using my watercolors and one of the flat blending brushes. This is a makeup brush from Kmart, the $12 ones that I'm sure lots of you are already aware of. And I'm doing Christmas in July over on our channel, if you haven't already noticed. So I am having a little bit of trouble recreating the gorgeous sort of rainbow effect there by only using my Christmas colors. I could, of course, incorporate more than just red and green, but I decided to just stick with the traditional Christmas colors and just use slightly varying shades of red and green. So once that has dried, I pulled out a Bow Bunny stamp. And it's kind of like a cascading star, this stamp that I've got happening here. And I'm going to do a tone-on-tone stamp with that. So I'm popping this sort of darker green colour on top here. And I'm just going to stick with that along that sort of top line, that edge line that you can see there where my mixed media mostly sits across the sort of top middle of the page. I did put a little bit of that first initial green up a little bit higher just to be sort of a back behind where my photo is going to go. So I'm just going to stamp away with that. I'm up to red now. I'm not really cleaning my stamp block off in between the two different colors because mostly it's coming off as you stamp. I'm using quite a mixture of inks. Some are Kaiser Craft inks, some of the Mementos teardrops. There's quite a variety of different inks happening today. The teardrop shaped ones, are all Mementos, as I mentioned, and the square ones are Kaiser Craft brand. And so that is done. And then I go in with a gold pen to try and sort of put that almost like that thread that you could see on the first one that was like holding the feathers and the dream catchery type feel all on together. But I very quickly realized I didn't really like that gold line. I feel like it kind of ruined my layout, to be honest. I left it there and I kept working because I couldn't really take it back, and this was the second time I'd already started the mixed media. But I didn't want to start again for the third time, but I really didn't like it. So I really was not sure how I was going to fix it and what I was going to do to fix it, but I was going to have to do something. So anyway, at the moment I'm doing a little sprinkling of sequins because I noticed in the example layout they had quite a few sequins sprinkled around as well, and I thought that's something else that I can replicate and copy with mine, because obviously mine is going to be quite different straight off the bat because I'm not using that sort of rainbow or plethora of variety of colors that you see in the example one. To back my photos, I've backed it in a plain white square, plain white matte, and then I'm going to cut the rounded edges off these Project Life cards. They're not Project Life actually. They are the Kaiser Craft brand. I'm sorry, I'm not getting words out today at all. And I'm just going to use 4 of those and just layer them up and stick one out, showing out from behind each corner. Mostly in red. There's 2 red ones, a white one, and this sort of paley blue greeny kind of colored one, and I'm just going to use those to try and use up some of that stash of Christmas supplies that I have got piling up, and also to tie in my colors. I wanted more than one layer behind my photo, and I thought this was a really great way to get a bunch of different shades and colors in behind my photo. So then I will pop my photo up on foam and adhere that to the page. How are you going? Are you doing your normal scrapping, or are you doing Christmas in July? We are doing Christmas in July over on our channel just for fun. I have not completed my December daily, which is actually unusual for me. Normally I've done I might not have it finished, but I've done quite a fair bit of it by sort of January. This time around, I've literally done nothing. So I have printed all of those photos now, ready for working on it during July, but it's already the 10th of July and I still haven't really done very much. So I'm really hoping for the second half of July I will get motivated to get that happening now that I'm in the Christmas spirit again. So of course I put a border around this, as there is a border on the example one, and I wanted to replicate that. And I decided to cover up that gold line that I was not happy with by using this sequin thread, or sequin ribbon you might call it. I thought this was a really great way of getting that gold line covered up, and it looked a bit better, I think, than the gold line. I covered the bit on the left hand side of the paper by sticking my photo like right up against the edge. It's pretty much touching the edge of the page, and so that covered up that part, and now I just have to do the sort of swirly bit that I had coming out. So I'm much happier with that, even though it's way more bling and there's so much more going on. I think it looks better than that hand drawn online. I was going to cut the little tail of the string off, but I've decided I will keep it, and I will pop my thread all the way around there. So next I decide I want a little bit of gold thread, so I'm going to bunch that up and pop it underneath the sort of swirly cluster of string or sequin that there is already happening on the page, just to add a little bit more texture and a little bit more something. The example layout really draws on its colors, so the rainbow effect on that page and the stamping that they use on that page on the original that was at the start of the video really I guess highlights this page. There's not a lot of ephemera and there's not a lot else going on, and unfortunately mine doesn't have that. By only using red and greens and by using the same stamp on repeat, I've kind of limited my layout would look quite bland if I left it, even right now if I left it, because even the example one on the page doesn't really have a noticeable title. So I was trying to think of what I was going to do to sort of jazz this up a bit, and obviously putting on a little bit of this thread was nice, but even still, if you left it right now, the thread also looks a little bit strange. It kind of needs to be there for a purpose. It needs to be there maybe to support a cluster of ephemera or something like that. So I wasn't really sure of where I was going to take this. I knew I'd put a more obvious title on mine, because I usually do with my scrapbooking anyway. I always use thickers to create something. So I thought I would do that again this time. So I will be using my gold sparkly thickers to create a title. And I deliberately chose gold and sparkly to tie in with this gold and sparkly sequin line, because that gold is very in your face. In fact, I got more gold sparkly sequins because I thought I needed to tie that gold in a little bit more and show that it was there for a purpose. So there is my title, Just Us, and then I'm popping on this little piece of ephemera because I thought it needed something. That is a homemade fringed heart that I think Katie made for me a lot of December dailies ago. Oh, not December dailies, December advent calendars ago. I opened up a brand new packet of ephemera just to get those two flowers, because I thought they would work really well on the top and bottom of my page. And then I really liked the look of the words, what are they called, ornaments, of the ornaments, but that black ornament up the top doesn't look so bad when you look at it now, but in real life it's really black, and there's not really any black at all on this page, and I really like it, and I really like the ornament, so I go with it, but it really stands out being so dark on this page. And in the end I have to take it off. I can't deal with how very, very black it is. I think I liked that it was so gold because, again, that tied in all the other gold that was happening, but it just was a bit too dark for the layout. So I've got a little word phrase here that says "'tis the season," that I popped that on as well. But yeah, as I said, I've got to pull off that dark one. It's just too dark. So then I popped on that green one, but then I didn't like that it was the same. I didn't want the same at the top and at the bottom. So then I pulled that little present off and just put a little word over there. I would have liked another present, but the only other present is that really black one that you can see there with the spots and sort of the blue bow. So that didn't really work. So in the end, I just go with the word Mary because I think that that's okay. And again, I would have put a second word, but there wasn't a second word. This ephemera pack was really letting me down. I don't know why I opened this one. But anyway, so then in the end, I swapped because ornaments go up in the sky and presents go down at the bottom. Popped on a few more sequins so that that one lonely one didn't look too randomly up there. Then a little bit of gold spritz, and I think I've saved this layout. Yay! I'm actually quite happy with how it's ended, but it was a very rocky start. I was really worried about it at the beginning and I wasn't sure I was going to be able to pull it together. But in the end, persistence, it looks great. So thank you for joining me on this mixed media frenzy. Make sure you pop down in the description box so you can see who to jump around to and check out next. It's lovely to have you. Please like and subscribe, and I'll catch you next time.